Welcome to So Very Easy. My name is Laura, and there's just something about denim. We wear it, it's comfortable, and it has that great look after it's been worn a long time. And denim is very durable, so it does last a long time. Denim is very easy to sew. I'm going to share some tips with you and how a denim foot is different than other feet. Here's the back side of 4 different sewing machine feet. One of them is a denim. Now you would normally think you would want to stitch denim with a larger opening, but a smaller opening is better for denim. Unless of course you're going to use a decorative or a zigzag stitch. A small opening is better. It helps feed the fabric through evenly. One of these is a quilting foot and one is that denim. There is one slight difference, and that difference can make a world of difference. And it's this little groove right here. This little groove is deeper so that we can use thicker threads like our denim threads, and our top stitching can run along here. So this foot is also good for top stitching regular clothing. For my Bernina, my denim foot is the 8D. When we do sew with denim, I would recommend a denim needle. And 116 is my go-to size. So we have a denim foot and denim needles. You can get denim thread or you can use regular thread. And you can get tools to help us get over the larger humps or those seams. If you have Bernina, you might have something that looks like this. You have 3 pieces of plastic and each of them are a different thickness. And that thickness represents the thickness of seams. So let's go to the machine and I'll show you how to use these little pieces, and I'll show you a few homemade items that will get us over that hump. So I have that denim needle on, the denim foot, and I'm using a heavier thread. When we sew those 2 layers of denim together, we treat it like any normal seam. That heavier thread runs underneath that groove. Then we take that and we usually press it to one side. And if we need to sew over it, it's usually not a problem. The machine will just stitch over that heavy seam with no trouble at all. When we put a hem up, we're going to fold it once. And that's not a problem going over top of, but it's the next hump that really is the problem. So on each side, we only have 3 layers of fabric. Where each of these seams are, we have 3 layers, 6, and now 9 layers. And it's getting over this hump that usually is the problem. It's not that the machine can't do it, it's the machine cannot get over that hump. The sewing machine functions with the foot riding on top of the fabric, so the foot is normally quite straight. So as we're stitching along, we're fine. When we get to the heavy part, the foot comes up, so it's on a big angle, and that angle is like a wedge. So the fabric gets wedged under that foot, so it can't go over, sort of like a door wedge. So there are a few things that we can do to help the machine get over this thickness. The first thing is, if we can, stitch coming in this direction. Where that seam is, we want to go up. This is giving us a little bit more of a ramp to go over versus this area is very flat. So if we can turn it and stitch in this direction, it will help the machine ramp over that instead of getting caught. So you're going to be able to see how this foot has to lift up to get over. But this has given me a little bit of a ramp. So I can go slow. When it hits a certain point, this foot's going to have to flip back down. So we just need to continue going slow. Let the foot go down and keep stitching. So we were able to get over that area. If we have no choice and we need to stitch in this direction, we definitely will have to get over this hump. So the first thing we're going to do is stitch until we get to that hump. And you can see where that foot really is being forced up. So we're getting wedged in here. So stitch slowly until you get to that wedge. This little tool has different thicknesses. So we'll be able to use those thicknesses to our advantage. If I have a really thick seam, I'm going to use the thickest one. And what we're going to do is leave the needle down and put this little piece of plastic right up against the back of that needle. Put the foot down and continue sewing. What that's going to do is it's keeping this foot in that proper horizontal way. So stitch a few stitches. You could stop and put that back. Do a few more stitches and continually put this to the back for all of those extra stitches. Once you get over the hump, well, you're good to go. So we have tools that will do that same thing. We're going to sew to that hump. Then this can fit to the back, and it has different sizes. So depending on the size, we can use that little piece. So that's going to raise that foot to the right level. If you don't have any tools, my favorite is a padded nail file. I took that little sandpaper off on both sides. Now I can put that right in the back. You can also use fabric. Just fold the fabric up and lay it in the back. All we're looking for is something to keep that foot straight. Take a few stitches, slide that back, always having that needle in the down position, and continue stitching. We will never sew on this little piece because it's already past the needle. We can also use a little padding when we're wanting to do a top stitch. We do want the foot to stay as straight as possible, but if we have one edge and the foot wants to go on an angle, we will need to keep it straight. So if I want to stitch right along that high edge, I can use one of these tools, and I'm just going to hold this tool and the fabric will be pulled, but the tool will stay put. We can use that fabric, just lay the fabric down so that it's putting a little support here. When we get so far, we can just move that. All we're wanting to do is keep that foot so that it's straight. So we can really get really close to that edge without falling over, and we have beautiful straight stitching. It really is a matter of just holding that and remove it when we're done. So getting over that hump means we just need a little help. Denim is not the only fabric that sometimes we need to have a little help getting over those 9 seams. It could be canvas, it could be any fabric that has been folded numerous times and has a thin side going into a thick side. It can even be in quilting when we're coming to intersections where we have a whole pile of ends coming together. Having a denim foot with that little channel trimmed out, having a little tool to help us get over that hump, and of course, the proper needle will also help. The foot that I was using today was for my Bernina. It is an 8D, so be sure to check and see if you have a denim needle for your machine. And thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe and come on back. Let's see what we're talking about next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.